President.
Oh.
Good morning and welcome to the Washington State University Board of Regents meeting here in Vancouver. My name is Lisa Keohokalole-Shower, and I am so excited to get started. We'll begin today's meeting by acknowledging that WSU's locations statewide are on the homelands of Native peoples who have lived in this region from time immemorial. The university expresses its deepest respect for and gratitude towards these original and current caretakers of this region. We will have an opportunity today to hear from the public, and we'd like to invite you to participate via YouTube live stream. There's a link to the live stream, which is available on the Board of Regents website. Public comment is welcomed at this meeting at the designated time, which will be after the regular agenda items. The time allocated for this will be up to 10 minutes, and each speaker will be allowed up to 2 minutes. A timer will be visible to help you keep track of time. For speakers who are in person, I will announce your name when it's your opportunity to speak. At that time, please come to the presenters table. For speakers participating virtually, you must remain muted until I call your name. At that time, the moderator will unmute you and return to mute when you've concluded. Preference will be given to speakers who have signed up in advance and who are speaking on matters that are before the board or will be before the board at future meetings. The time to submit a public comment for this meeting has closed. If you wish to submit a public comment at a future meeting, you may do so by submitting an online request at regents.wsu.edu or emailing regents@wsu.edu or visiting with the board's assistant, Tracy Jordal. I will say that we have received communication in the past, and we are open and transparent about sharing that communication with the full board. We appreciate when we have community members that are sharing with us their thoughts, and we are listening. So if you're interested in being part of this meeting, there are lots of ways. I want to begin my remarks by recognizing two of our regents who have recently been reappointed by Governor Jay Inslee, both Regents Marty Dickinson and Doug Pica. I am grateful for your service, and I appreciate you saying yes to the opportunity to continue to serve at this board. Since our last meeting, we have celebrated several special events. On September 22nd, the Schweitzer Engineering Hall ceremonial groundbreaking was held on the Pullman campus. I joined Regent Dickinson to celebrate this momentous event that will bring to campus a central hub and welcome the fronter of the Voiland College of Engineering and Architecture. During homecoming weekend, Regents Cerna, Dickinson, Mardokin, and McDonald join me to honor donors who have achieved milestones in their lifetime giving at the WSU Foundation Gala. Regent Cerna participated in a panel discussion on October 19th, which featured first-generation WSU alumni who have gone on to make a difference in their communities. On November 4th, Regents Cerna, Mardokin, and Pica joined me to celebrate the Champion Center, a renovated facility that, when completed, will serve as a hub for student athletes, providing academic resources, mental health services, and professional development support. The board's been busy. Being a part of each of these events is important, and I appreciate each of you that have spent the time to make the trip and be part of these. It's important to me that when we can, we acknowledge when we have a month that is recognizing a particular culture or memorializing something significant in our history. And this month, across the WSU system and throughout the month of November, WSU will be celebrating and honoring our Native American Heritage Month. There are multiple planned events, including talks, film screenings, workshops, lunch and learn sessions involving traditional ingredients. I want to recognize and thank several key WSU leaders who have supported the Board of Regents. Each person recognized here is participating in their final Regents meeting in their current capacity and moving on to enjoy the next chapter in their lives. I'd like to recognize Senior Vice Provost Laura Greiner Hill. We want to thank you for your leadership you've provided since 2001 that has helped to build and retain a world-class faculty while bringing national recognition to WSU and positively impacting the lives and success of our faculty, staff, and students. Dr. Hill's thoughtful and collaborative leadership style has been inspiring. Best wishes to Laura in retirement. I also want to recognize Vice President Christopher Keene. We appreciate your leadership over the past decade, which has helped define and realize innovative and entrepreneurial research opportunities for WSU, and for supporting our faculty members as they address state, national, and global challenges. On January 1, Dr. Keene will return to his faculty position as professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy and assume a one-year position as a senior advisor to the WSU System Provost. And lastly, and in the room, WSU Pullman Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Ellen Taylor. I want to thank you for your collaborative leadership. Since joining WSU in 2018, you have built relationships based on trust and accountability. You led us through times of crisis, celebration, and transition. And you served as a central point of connection for the WSU system by finding common ground, moving initiatives forward, and supporting our students and staff. Dr. Taylor's transparent and communicative leadership will be missed by those who have worked with, for, and alongside her during her time at WSU. Sorry, I'm used to WSUV, that just slipped right out. Best wishes in retirement, Dr. Taylor. Dr. Taylor really stepped in during a time when we needed her and continues to do so, so you'll be missed. Executive Director for Budget, Planning, and Analysis, Kelly Westhoff, was recognized at our last meeting, and as that was her last meeting that she was attending, I just want to express my gratitude for Kelly's nearly 2 decades of dedication and contributions to WSU and wish her the best in retirement. Kelly has also been a part of these meetings quite often. So, the AGB National Conference on Trusteeship is being held in Boston on March 26th through the 28th. And I just want to remind our board that this is an opportunity for not only continued education, but also to connect with our fellow universities. Regent Cerna and I attended last year. I found it very valuable. And I would encourage you to reach out to Tracy if you're interested in attending. I have 2 other items that I want to share. And the first is just deep gratitude and appreciation. We have a long day on Thursdays, which is why Fridays feel like they're so incredibly quick. We've done all of the work ahead of time to be positioned and ready for today to move a little bit quicker than maybe we did yesterday, because we spend a lot of time in discussion. And on that point, I know that we ask a lot of our senior leadership team. The presentations are phenomenal, the information that you're sharing, but most importantly, the opportunity to dialogue. So whenever we have this opportunity with our leadership team and the presentations aren't so dense that we are not able to have a dialogue, it makes it difficult for that discussion. And yesterday was just really phenomenal. So thank you for everyone that spent the time to prepare presentations and deliver them. They were really, really well done. Lastly, for those of you that are following what's happening outside of WSU, we had a successful week in a legal arena, and our athletics team has just done a really exceptional job. And when I say athletics team, I mean a team of senior leaders that not only include our athletics director, Pat Chung, but also our CFO, Leslie Brunelli, the financial expertise of John Harlow, and our legal advice from our Attorney General, Nathan Dean. In collaboration with President Schultz, the time and commitment that is spent on ensuring that we are fighting for WSU is in addition to all of the other work that they're doing. And so I just want to express my appreciation. And in particular, I just want to give a shout out to our Attorney General, Nathan Dean, who has done an amazing job of ensuring that we have counsel to help us fight the good fight, and we're winning. So that's always good as well. With that, I am going to turn the floor over to President Schultz for his report.
All right. Good. All right. Thank you. Well, good morning. And let me just start off by thanking Mel Netzhammer, the WSU Vancouver team, for hosting us over the last day or two. These always take a lot of work on the host campus, and I appreciate all the staff and people being out and just doing a great job for WSU. This has been an interesting week for us. Lisa mentioned our legal victory this week. That was an interesting pathway to get there. I started in Seattle, was sitting on an airplane, and the pilot kept coming on and going, well, we're so fogged in Spokane, we can't get there. Noel said, well, if you rent a car now, you can't get to Colfax in time. So we actually were able to catch a different airline flight, get into Pullman, rent a car, and made it with 15 minutes to spare. So it was quite the day, but that really felt good, I think. What's that? I didn't hear that. This last week, too, was a big one for the state of Washington and WSU, in that we hosted the Association for Public and Land Grant Universities national meeting was in Seattle. And last year, when it was in Denver, a bunch of the folks in the room were all there. Colorado State, had CSU stuff all over the meeting. And so Phil and his team were in communication literally from the day after that meeting until this week. So if you go up and down the escalators in the hotel, it was all WSU banners. We had balloons. We had all kinds of things. We gave cosmic crisp apples to all the presidents and chancellors there with a little note about WSU and the things that we're doing in the state of Washington. But it was fantastic to showcase us with a bunch of our colleagues there. And it was nice to be able to host because it's my going to 20 years worth of meetings. It's the first time we were all actually there. There were probably 25 to 30 WSU people there as well. Our chancellors, vice presidents, a lot of the folks in the room have leadership positions within the division of APLU. So we showcased our institution really well to our colleagues in public higher education. And I mentioned in sort of our keynote when we were introducing everybody, Anamari got to go first and I got to go second. And I told the audience, if you really want great service in Seattle, just tell them go Cougs at the end. So it worked out really well. The other thing I'll just recognize is Mike Connell's in the room, who is CEO of our foundation, and the Alumni Association works there. We've been really focused over the last couple of years on how do we move our presence up in some of the communities outside the state of Washington, where we have a lot of students, we have a lot of alumni and things. So this last week, prior to the Cal game, we spent a whole week in Northern California. We had several recruitment events for students. We had alumni events. We had some corporate visits and get-togethers. We had individual donor meetings, but it was a really nice pulling together. We've talked about doing this better integration in some of the communities and cities outside the state of Washington where we have a lot of people. And we always got ways to improve, but I thought this one really felt good on how corporate relations, alumni, foundation, recruitment, athletics all came together around a really good set of events in a community where we have a lot of Cougs. So lots of positives there. Let me also just give a few things that have been happening. The town halls, every year I do these town hall meetings a little bit differently. This year, what we did is I did it with the chancellor. So we did 6 town hall meetings. 4 were in person, 2 were virtual. And it was interesting. We let each campus choose on whether they wanted to do an in-person or virtual type of meeting. And in the past, sometimes I've gone through, 20, 30 minutes of different slides just on where things were. This year, we cut that way down. I think we did 5 slides, went about 20 minutes. And then people could submit questions ahead of time. And we had live questions there. Phil moderates these so that I and the chancellor can spend time answering the questions as opposed to trying to moderate. And we were able to hit on some things that were sort of global, that our whole employee base was students, faculty, and staff were interested in. Sometimes they're very specific to a particular campus location, and we were able to discuss those things. So I think we had something like 550 or so for the Pullman one online. And then we had really nice attendance at all the other ones, and kind of a positive vibe I felt at all the town halls. So that was good. I appreciate Isaac was able to attend the Tri-Cities one, and it was great for him to participate and hear some of the dialogue and questions as well. So we want to keep doing these, and every year we switch it up a little bit to try and meet the time, but it's important that folks have the ability to ask questions and do it sometimes in a way that if they don't want to ask themselves, that they can submit it anonymously through a portal. And we have the ability to do that without that person worried about if they're being critical or it's something that's challenging, that nobody feels that they're being put on the spot for asking something that maybe their colleagues are really interested in. So we'll continue to do those moving ahead. Lisa mentioned the groundbreakings and our ribbon cuttings, or call them whatever you will, but we've had several. We've had 3 big ones in Pullman this fall alone. At the groundbreaking for Schweitzer Engineering Hall, and many of you in the room were there, I think we had over 200 people there. We had our engineering clubs out showing people that were there what types of projects they were doing, and you could do some little participatory things. So it wasn't just under a tent and having the speeches. It was a real celebration. And I think that construction and these donor funded projects where people are investing in academic and athletics projects really feel good. And they're a nice shot in the arm as we're going through some of the other difficult challenges that we are institutionally. We're going to continue to do these. We continue to celebrate new facilities, renovated facilities across the system. But this was a particularly fun and meaningful event, and it was great to see so many people there. We also just recently dedicated a brand new statue on the Pullman campus, and campus art is an important part of what we do. I like to wander campuses, and it's always interesting to see, as I'm around the country, different art exhibits and things. So one of our alumni, Howard Wright, donated a sculpture that sits outside the College of Veterinary Medicine, specifically right by our hospital. And it's very striking. So next time you're in the Pullman campus, if you're wandering around a little bit, urge you to go over there. It's got a nice plaque, describes the artist, what they were thinking, why it was done. And it just fits over with veterinary medicine really incredibly well. One of the other celebrations was for the Champion Center. And I know this is formally, approved, will hopefully, fingers crossed, that it be approved this morning. Just a reminder for our new athletics types of facilities, they're all donor funded with cash. And I think, which Olivia reminded me yesterday was really important, was the cash part. But I appreciate the job Pat Chun and his team have done on these types of projects. Now, this one in particular has been interesting because we made the first solicitation for this in the first 3 months of my presidency in 2016. And that was when we got the first donor to say, yeah, I'm interested in doing something. So this has been a long project, and it's taken on everything from renovating kind of a room to now doing most of a building. And again, it's neat to watch it as it's changed over time, but it also shows that a lot of our alumni and donors understand that sometimes things are going to kind of change along the way, and they've been there with us. And we really appreciate the fact that they did that. So we're going to keep looking for new opportunities athletically, academically, on all of our campuses to ensure our students, faculty, and staff have the facilities they need to be successful. Lisa also mentioned, I think Lisa had all my talking points here. So, Native American Heritage Month. And I just want to acknowledge the work that Zoe High Eagle Strong reports directly to myself, also works in Elizabeth's offices in her role as provost, and her leadership at the system level. And then each campus has got campus-wide leaders that are also working in this particular space. Having been to several states where we had almost antagonistic relationships with the tribes, it's fun to be in a state where the tribes are partners. They want to see us be successful. We've got some shared space and things that we both want to work on together. One of the things I started at the beginning of this academic year was every month doing a letter to the WSU community about some of the positive things happening at WSU. We sometimes have to send notes on things that are challenges, but it's important monthly to say, here's some things that are going really well. The November letter is focused around some of the great progress we've continued to make with our tribal partnerships, relationships moving forward. The number of Native students we have at WSU system-wide is up. We think we have over 50 faculty and staff now that have a tribal affiliation across our system. Just a few years ago, that number was 10. So we are making really great progress, and we need to celebrate when these things happen. We have a Native American Advisory Board that meets twice a year with myself and other campus leaders that Zoe leads. We celebrated last year the 25th anniversary of that funding and getting that of the document. There are 3 people that signed that document 25 years ago that are still involved with WSU and have been ever since that time. So it's long-term relationship building that's really important, and I just appreciate that we're going to continue to make progress in this space. You heard a little bit from Saichi yesterday around some different aspects of affordability indices. We're continuing to innovate in the enrollment space, and just as we share data with you all as the board, this is kind of year 2 in a way of having a certain admissions platform and some of those kind of things. So we're still trying to get better at forecasting. What does it mean if we have, applications up an X%? What does it mean if this is up or down a certain percent? As we go through the years, that data gets better and more predictive, but we're going to continue to innovate in this space. If we do exactly what we did last year, it's not going to be enough. And I appreciate a large team of individuals that work in enrollment management cooperatively across all the system. Our faculty play an important role in this, as do staff. And anybody who visits one of our campuses needs to leave there saying, that was the best experience I've had visiting a campus. And that means if they're wandering around and you see somebody lost, I'm stunned at how many faculty and staff will stop somebody and say, you look lost, you need some help. And that's nothing that comes as a directive. That's people want to do that. I had somebody on the Pullman campus that coming out of the student union about 2 weeks ago, one of those rare days I was on the Pullman campus, and I guess it was because of my hair and I was wearing a tie, but they assumed I knew something. And they were trying to find a building, and we kind of talked through it, and they said, hey, thanks. And they went on their merry way. And they had no idea who I was, and that's the way it ought to be. So it was fantastic. So I appreciate the work our enrollment management teams continue to do. Let me finish up with this. We've had lots of discussions over where we are athletically moving forward. I think there's a lot of reports in the media out there. It's been well publicized about our desire to have a scheduling alliance with the Mountain West Conference. Those discussions to move ahead. I will say in August, when all this went down and we started to try and find out, I thought truly by October 1, we will have made our decisions. We would sort of move on there. It's just gotten spread out, and there's not a decision point around certain days. So I think I appreciate the passion of our Cougar fans. I appreciate the fact that we have a lot of donors to intercollegiate athletics that have hung with us, knowing that the future is going to look different than the past. But we have one of our really prominent alumni played football for WSU, played professionally in the NFL, then has a very successful business environment. He was on one of our calls, and everybody was kind of down in the dumps about what our future was going to be. And he said, it's time to turn the page, time to look ahead, and it's time for us to win. And we need to put ourselves in a position that's great for our student athletes, but where we can be competitive on the field. And it was just a change in the whole tenor of the meeting. And to me, next year is going to be different than it's been the last 10 or 20 or 30 years, but that's okay. And we're just going to continue to keep a positive attitude. And I appreciate very much the work of Leslie, Nathan, John, Pat, and those teams, because this is a team effort. And, we're going to still have some rockiness ahead of us over the next couple of months as we work on budgets and schedules and what things are going to look like. I appreciate the full support and engagement of the board. I can tell you for that team at WSU, we feel that we've got the backing of the Regents and that you all are going to be there with us on the journey moving forward. And I really do appreciate that. And then finally, I just want to acknowledge that in all this kind of stuff that's gone on, our women's volleyball team has had a spectacular year. They've been in the top 10 virtually all year. And it's been, if you have not seen and been in Bowler for a volleyball game, it is packed, it is loud, it's the penultimate experience that you'd expect with intercollegiate athletics, and people are excited to be there. Not a single person in that room really cares what conference we're playing in next year. They want to see us win. And I think it's going to be fun to watch the postseason as we host, hopefully, and continue to, if we talk about national championship, this may be our best chance we've had since I've been here to have a team that's really that close and they're that good. So it's going to be fun to watch. So if you have a chance, when we host, it's always at an inconvenient time. Find a way to get to Pullman, enjoy it. Let's enjoy this ride. So with that, thank you.
Cheers to Jen.
Cheers to Jen Greeny. Yep, they've done a great job. Madam Chair, that's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions for our president? Okay. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. I'd like to invite our WSU Pullman Chancellor, Mel Natshammer, to provide his campus update. Wait, did I say, what did I say? WSU? I don't know where I'm at.
She's moving us to different.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Ellen's in Vancouver and Mel's now in Pullman. Where's Elizabeth? Did she leave? Was she like?
She's already moving her stuff.
Oh my God. Well, Vancouver is very lovely. So. Okay, sorry, Mel.
No concerns at
WSU
all.
Vancouver.
It's one WSU.
It is. Woo, go Cougs.
Mel just wants to.
Exchange program.
Good morning. It has been a pleasure to host this week. And, one of the things we don't often, when we're hosting, have a lot of business in front of the Board of Regents. And excuse me, it has been really great for you all to be able to meet many of the leaders on our campus over the last couple of days and over your last couple of visits. It's a great team. The great things that happen on this campus do not happen without them. And so I'm just really grateful to be able to host and to have you connect with so many people on our campus. And last night with our faculty, they also found to be very, very special. So thank you all very much for that. And one more thing in that regard, while I'm doing shout outs, you'll hear from Sam in a minute, but there is a renewed campus life this year that has been really terrific. And that doesn't happen without great leadership from our student body. And it has been a wonderful partnership to look at how we can re-energize our students. I won't steal any of his thunder, but there are great things happening that our students are leading as well. I'm going to talk about some highlights, but I also want to really take the opportunity to be honest today and talk about some of the challenges that we have on campus. There are amazing things that are happening, and there are really significant challenges that we have to face. And I think it's important to talk openly about those. And so I will. It will be a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Let's just say that. First of all, we revised our land acknowledgement this year, and that has been very important to our local Native communities. It was, let me say, our last land acknowledgement was done in partnership with the Cowlitz tribe and other local leaders. But it's a moment in time, and things changed, and they asked us to consider some revisions to the land acknowledgement. And so with the work of the Cowlitz tribe and our Native American Community Advisory Board, we revised our land acknowledgement. You'll see, you heard Lisa read the WSU statement. You can see how this one flows from that pretty directly. But we started the semester with a new land acknowledgement, and that has been important and welcomed by the Cowlitz tribe specifically. I want to talk a little bit about enrollment and how budget connects to enrollment. When we were developing our budget projections for last year, we were expecting to be down 7, 9, maybe 10%. That is primarily because we graduated, 2019 was our largest graduating class. Our largest entering class. Add 4 to that, you get to 2023. We graduated this year what was our largest entering class. And so we had more students that we needed to replace. And so we expected that we would be down significantly. We were only down 2.7%. We take that as a win, but it is still down. And so there are interesting things when you begin to mine the data. One of the most interesting, I think, is that for the first time in the history of our campus, since we were formed in 1989, we accepted more first-year students this year than transfer students. We started as a transfer university. When I started 12 years ago, about 2/3 of our students were from Clark College specifically, and close to 70% were transfer students. So the fact that now that more than 50% of our students are first-year students is a big change for us, and one that we have been preparing for it. The services that first-year students need are different. It changes the mix of courses that we have to offer, and so we have expected this to happen because Clark College, which was over 16,000 students a decade ago, is now 7,000 students. And so we've prepared for that. But this was the first year where we had that switch. And interestingly, Clark College is up 10% this year, and that is going to be very significant for us in the next couple of years as they grow. You can see our numbers around equity and the diversity of our campus above me. The overall, since the pandemic, we have had a decline of about 800 students. And so even as enrollment stabilizes, we are still faced with a structural deficit in our budget that over the last few years has ranged from $3 to $5 million. And we have managed that budget. We have We have balanced in every year. And but that it is still something we have to really work hard to balance. And we've used a combination of one-time funds, reserves. We are holding or zero funding about 50 faculty and staff positions right now, and that is probably the major way that we address the budget deficit that we have. For next year, we are still anticipating that we will have to come up with about $3 million in either new revenue or cuts to be able to balance our budget. And we will do that. I think people are exhausted around cutting, and it is also a very depressing exercise. And so one of the things that we have done this fall is to pause on that and begin to talk about what kinds of things we might be able to put in place to increase revenue, to enroll more students, to retain more students than we've been doing. And so over the next couple of weeks, sorry about that. Over the next couple of weeks, we will be doing more work around how we might balance our budget by increasing students over the next year. And that's a really important piece of this for us, to try to approach this positively rather than negatively, at least for a period of time where we can have these discussions and bring the campus community along. And speaking of the campus community, I want to talk about employee engagement. I know a number of you have read some of the information in the employee engagement survey that HR did last year. We had around 220 faculty and staff take the employee engagement survey. And in terms of how we compare to WSU, in some places we're a tick higher, in some places we're a tick lower. But I think if you look at those data, it's pretty consistent. Probably no statistical difference across the campuses. For ours, there were really four themes that emerged: salary, workload, morale, and leadership. And I know one of the things that when constituent groups are up here that the board likes to ask is, how are people feeling? How are the people you represent feeling? Well, I can tell you, they are upset about their salary. They're upset about their workload. They think there is a morale issue, and they have some concerns about our leadership. And so we are really trying to take those on where we can. And that's not necessarily easy. We had conversations yesterday about salary increases and managing that. I do think Leslie talked a bit yesterday about Workday, and I do believe that one of the things that happened with Workday was that we took things that used to be managed up here and we put them down on our rank and file employees. And so their workload actually did not decrease because of Workday, it increased. And we need to find ways to recognize that, to balance their workload. The other thing is that when we are holding 50 positions open, to a person, there is this sense that we did the right thing by not using layoffs to do this. But if you don't use layoffs, then it's not necessarily the right positions that are gone. And so there may be a group here where the number of students dropped dramatically, but we still have the same number of faculty that we had and staff. And over here, where they actually increased, but 4 faculty left and we didn't replace them. And so we're out of balance, and we need to do work to manage that for our employees. And that is one of the things we are working on. And I think those two things directly affect morale. The leadership question, I think, is one of communication. It is one of how we engage our employees in helping to solve the challenges that we have. And I think we are working hard to become better at that this year. Kirk has already met with our Council of Faculty Representatives and our ASWSUV students, and that was really important and really, really appreciated by them. And so I think that we have a roadmap to address the issues that are within our power to address. And I think that's really important for us. The rest of these will go a little bit more quickly. Sherry talked a bit yesterday about BASE, building a community of equity in our discussion of the strategic plan. We have had 487 employees participate in BASE workshops. 204 of them have completed the 12-credit BASE certificate that we provide, or the BASE accessibility design certificate. So that commitment to equity that we were talking about yesterday really shows up across our faculty and staff as well. We also learned in September, and are now actually free to announce it, that Insight into Diversity magazine, which is the oldest and largest diversity-focused publication in higher education, awarded us one of its 2023 Higher Education Excellence in Diversity Awards. And that is the second time that our campus has received that. And so it's a real source of pride for us, and very much under the leadership of Obie Ford III, whom you all know quite well. We don't always get the opportunity to talk about new curriculum when we present to the Board of Regents. We have 2 new programs that began this fall, the Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and the Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry. You saw the labs yesterday where those chemistry courses will be taught. We are anticipating, we have a group of faculty right now working on a comparative ethnic studies degree, which will fit in very well with the equity work that we do. But what is new for us in the last couple of years, and let me express our appreciation, is that until last year, we had never made a legislative request for a new program. We were always funding those programs ourselves. And so with Board of Regents approval and the legislative ask, last year we were funded for the Bachelor of Arts in Public Health. And for next year, we are hoping that the legislature will approve the Bachelor of Arts in Supply Chain Management. So we are still growing. We are still adding, strategically adding new programs, and where we have the support of the legislature to be able to add faculty to programs, that's a really important piece of how we can manage our growth moving forward. Sherry mentioned yesterday that childcare is back. It is, there are only maybe 15 of our faculty, staff, and students who are using childcare at the moment, but it is a huge symbolic victory for the campus. It is important. It is a service that we offered. It is great to be able to offer that service again. And by using Innovative Services Southwest, we've been able to offer things to our campus community that we were never able to offer when we ran it ourselves. Jenny was able to negotiate a discount for WSU Vancouver faculty, staff, and students, which is added to by the fact that we have donors who provide scholarships for students. Our students have always asked for the opportunity to have their kids in there part-time, and we have never been able to provide that until now. And so we have just really found working with Innovative Services to be a real win-win for the campus, and that it's been terrific to see that. Small things make a huge difference on campus. And so after a number of years of having the most awkwardly placed space on campus for meditation or for lactation. We have now added in the center of campus a lactation pod for students that is ADA accessible. And once again, it is a meaningful addition to what we provide on our campus. In that same vein, we have been asked for, since I arrived, for the first 5 years that I was here, every March we would have gender neutral bathroom week, and where our restrooms would become, many of them would become gender inclusive. Our students have asked for that, and we really tried to provide that to them. It is really expensive to retrofit restrooms to make them gender inclusive. So you saw yesterday in the Life Sciences building, all of the restrooms are gender inclusive. But as we were talking in cabinet about this, it also was not sufficient. And so last year we approved funding to be able to make this building, which is our student-centered building, to include gender inclusive restrooms. And so at this point, you've seen them flooded, but you've also had, I'm sure every one of you has had the opportunity to use them as well. And then finally, I wanted to talk about access to campus. We talk about that in many, many ways, but you see a lot of parking lots on this campus. And one of the reasons for that is because we have not historically been accessible, really accessible by public transportation. A student who wants to come from another part of the city to get here could have a 2-hour bus ride to and have to change buses 2 or 3 times to be able to get here. Over the years, we have worked with C-Tran to try to improve service. You've all seen the bus loop on campus. By moving the bus to the side of campus, we were able to get service every half hour rather than every hour. And so we've worked through that. But, and more recently, you may have seen the Currents on campus, which is the on-demand service that C-Tran provides, which now allows students, when they get to one of the main transit centers, to be able to call up a bus like an Uber. And that bus is coming to campus a dozen times a day, dropping off students. It is often filled with students. And so that has made addressed a great need on our campus. But the thing that is really exciting for us is that in 2026, bus rapid transit will be coming to campus. The area right now has 2 bus rapid transit lines. Both of them go east-west. In 2026, the C-Tran will debut what they call the Vine, which is their first northwest route, which will start by the AC Hotel, for those of you who are staying down at the waterfront. And the terminus will be on our campus. And you can see it will come onto campus, it will drop off, and it will make a loop. And so that will allow students to take bus rapid transit from the east side of Vancouver all the way to campus with one very quick bus change. And so we are really looking forward to the impact that will have. When the new bridge is built, light rail will end at the start of this bus, of the new Vine, the bus rapid transit. And so we've had many conversations over the years about what we need to do to open the Portland market. And this will be an essential component to doing that. And with that, I will happily take any questions that you might have for me.
Just a comment. I've been in student government for a couple of years now. So whenever I connected with my WSUV colleagues, they always talked about transportation. They talked about lactation stations and gender neutral bathrooms. So to see the work and to see, when I started 3 years ago, the growth and, the fast paced movement from this leadership to listen to student leaders, to listen to the needs of the campus and make those changes. Just amazing. So hands down to you and your leadership, because like I said, I've known these amazing Vancouves and they've always talked about these issues, and to see a lot of these resolutions and seeing that input for student voice, just amazing work.
Thank you, guys.
I just want to shout out again to you and your team for the equity impact assessment tool that we each have, and the importance of how we can activate this tool in our work and in our role. And so just appreciate your leadership and the team continuing to advance equity as a major part of our values.
Thank you.
Quick question and yeah, two quick questions. First of all, thank you for a very comprehensive report, lots of good data. Appreciate the data on the imbalances in terms of staffing, because I think that's very good for us for strategic input on sort of some of the issues that we need to be looking at. So thank you very much for your candor on that. And then in terms of looking at avenues for new revenue, which I also love, have you been thinking at all about opportunities to work with the business community here to offer certificates or stackable, certificates that lead to a degree or something like that? I mean, we're one of the nicely placed urban campuses that WSU has, so we've got sort of unique access, I think, to a really vibrant business community, and that may give you some revenue opportunities that some of the other campuses might not have.
We have, and I think some of that is online that all the campuses can do,
Yeah.
but that has been a priority for us on our campus. We call it PACE, Professional and Corporate Education, and we had the great foresight, I'm saying this ironically, to start during COVID. And so we went for about 3 years canceling classes and really struggling to make the program successful. And Hakan Gurchek leads that program for us. He works very closely with NARIC, and last spring the big explosion. We went from, 20 to 100, and this year we're at 180 students that are participating in our professional development courses. So that is something that is really big for us. We are, with the new building opening, we are having conversations, as Sherry said yesterday, with the forestry service about moving on campus. There are some other organizations that are very mission compatible with us, that are interested in having closer relationships with us and being on campus. So we're looking at maybe some space sharing that would bring in some revenue as well. So it's a number of things like that I think are really important, but student growth is essential to getting to a balanced budget for us as well.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, feedback from the board? Thank you.
Thank you. Our hope is that when you are next with us for the Regents retreat in June, that we will actually have the ribbon cutting for the Life Sciences building. So you will definitely get to see it in its complete state. Thank you.
All right, we are going to head into our consent agenda. We have 2 items on our consent agenda before us today, which were included in your packets. Approval of minutes from September 15th, 2023 Board of Regents meeting, and the approval of minutes October 13th, 2023 Board of Regents special meeting. Would any regent like to remove any of these items from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I move to approve the consent agenda, and I am seeking a second. Second. Thank you, Regent Ramos. All those in favor, please say yay. Yay.
Okay.
All those opposed, nay. All right, hearing none, motion has passed. All right, we will head into our shared governance reports, and up first is our Vice President for Advancement and CEO, Mike Connell, and Foundation Board of Directors Chair, Lisa King.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes. Hi, Lisa.
First of all, as Chair Schauer already mentioned, our annual fall meeting was held October 13th and 14th in Pullman. And I'd like to thank all of you Regents for attending. It is so important to have your participation. We appreciate it so much. Beasley Coliseum was transformed into a wonderful evening for our recognition gala of our Crimson benefactors and our laureates. Again, thank you for all of you who attended. At the board meeting, we were able to vote in our new 6 incoming board members. Their terms will start in January 1st, and they will receive their orientation mid-January. We will assign each one of those new board members a mentor to bring them up to speed very quickly. And then on a personal note, this is my last meeting where I will be presenting to the board as the WSU Foundation Chair as my term ends December 31st. I wish to thank all of you for the opportunity to get to know you better and to work together for the betterment of WSU. John Minjay is the incoming chair. He has been instrumental in the reorganization, restructuring of the foundation, and I expect that there will be a very easy transition. Again, thank you, and go Cougs. That's it for me.
Thank you, Lisa King, and thank you to our entire board of directors of the WSU Foundation. Next, let me turn it over to Lester Barbero, joining us from Hawaii. Lester, the chair of the WSU Alumni Association. Thought I said Lester earlier. Kyle, didn't I?
He is on.
Okay, thank you.
Lester, you're muted. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry about that. Good morning and aloha from Honolulu. Really excited to be here. Honored to be speaking about our Alumni Association. Got a few updates this morning. President Schultz mentioned the town halls during his update. The Alumni Association was excited to host a meetup at a local restaurant the night before town halls at each WSU campus. We had board members attend to welcome and engage our alumni. It's a great way to collaborate across all of WSU campuses and connect Cougs with WSU leadership in a casual setting. Last month, we hosted our WSU AA Fall Board meeting in conjunction with the Foundation's Fall meeting during Homecoming Week. Our volunteers appreciate meeting Foundation staff and volunteers and being able to share ideas across WSU advancement to serve WSU in the best way possible. We conclude the evening with 500 alums, students, and friends at our homecoming pep rally powered by BECU. Speaking of BECU, our watch parties powered by BECU have had incredible attendance throughout the WSU football season. We've especially targeted our recent grads through this fun way to stay involved and connected with WSU. We expect this to lead to recent grads wanting to attend more events or even volunteer with the WSU AA. In partnership with WSU's Academic Success and Career Center, we are pleased to launch our mentorship platform this upcoming spring called Cougs Connect. The platform produced by Graduate will connect WSU alums and current WSU students from all campuses, allowing them to network and build valuable connections. We'll be providing more information in the near future on ways we will connect current students and alums. We look forward to hosting the Women's Leadership Summit on February 23rd. This is a virtual opportunity to celebrate successes and learn from the experiences of women from WSU. Panelists from each campus will be announced soon. We're also adding watch parties around the state so Cougs can network, watch, and learn together. And finally, This year's Thanksgiving card, sent annually to Platinum Life and Life members, features the WSU Vancouver campus. We'll be featuring every WSU campus over the next few years as part of the One WSU initiative. This beloved tradition is a great way to showcase each campus to the Cougar Nation. Shout out to our Vancouver colleagues that helped us make sure we included as many important campus icons as possible. And a special thank you to Chancellor Netzhammer, Jennifer Miltenberger, and Brenda Alling, who are especially helpful. That's all I got. Pending your questions and comments, I wish you all a happy Aloha Friday and go Cougs.
Thank you, Lester. Any questions for Lester from the group?
I have a question for Lester and for Lisa. At our last meeting in September, the two of you read a pretty inspirational letter, and it was incredibly impressive. I was curious what response you both received from your push of that out on social media in your letter.
It's been generally positive, just positive reactions about the letter.
Absolutely. And I think to add to that, it's just been, they love the team aspect of it, that we are all working together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Other questions for Lester or Lisa?
Thank you, Lisa, again for your service. You've been outstanding in your role.
You're here to that. All right, I'll just take a few minutes to supplement a bit. Again, thank you, Lisa and the Foundation Board. Thank you, Lester and the Alumni Association Board. Great to see, again, Lester's home base is Hawaii. We saw Lester in Pullman. Kirk and I saw Lester and had a chance to meet his wife, Kala, last week in Berkeley. Just really appreciate our volunteer leadership of both the WSU Foundation as well as the WSU Alumni Association. While I'm acknowledging volunteer efforts, let me again thank each of you, the Board of Regents, for your engagement and commitment to Washington State University. I am grateful for that, as is, I think, everyone within the WSU system. And then just a moment of acknowledgement. It is just so much fun to come to WSU Vancouver. When you come up over the hill yesterday when I got here, and Mount St. Helens just literally felt like I could fall into the caldera. It is such a spectacular setting. And I'm reminded of the success we have here in Clark County and the fact that it's based on the advocacy of the folks in this community and how important WSUV is to Clark County and the relationship between the citizens of this county and across the river into Portland. I had a fantastic dinner last night with some longtime engaged volunteers, Doug and Tina Grimm. So the volunteerism, the advocacy, and the philanthropy, the Furstenberg Fountain, and yes, you just be able to look down the line and see Mount Hood and turn and see Mount Helens, and here we are in the Furstenberg building. So it's great to be here, and I'm just grateful for everything that everybody has done to have the successes we've had on this campus and throughout the system. Fundraising year to date continues to go well. As of this morning, we're at $38.9 million of private support to the WSU system. That's within a few percentage points of where we were last year. So I would say we're kind of, things are going well. We have new endowment numbers as we have the September 30 report, which I received yesterday. The endowment's at $652 million. And again, just a reminder, the endowment is made up of literally, when we say the endowment, that's, I think about 3,000 different endowed funds. So donors establish endowments, we pool those funds and invest them together. So that's representative of thousands of folks committing to the long-term benefit of WSU, whether that be our student scholarships, programs, excellence funds for leadership, et cetera. So more than $652 million in the endowment. One of the benefits of following Kirk, Mel, Lisa, Lester, I've mentioned it before, I'm over here just crossing them out. Lisa covered that, Lester covered that, Kirk covered that. We did have a great time in the Bay Area last week, and before that we did WSU in Tempe, very similar to what we went through in California last week in terms of engagement from enrollment management, engagement from the Alumni Association. We had deans visit Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe, and visit with our engaged donors and prospective donors and alums. We will go right back down to Scottsdale, Phoenix again in February, March. We'll go back to, we always spend a little bit of time each year down in the Palm Springs, Palm Desert area. We've got some alums there, either seasonally or that live there. So as Kirk mentioned, we're planting the flag in these markets, and it's not a pop in and pop out for a meeting. It's engage with those who are in those markets where we have a chance to get to know them a little bit better and talk about philanthropic support of WSU and thank them for what they're already doing. Last time we met, which is in September, I mentioned some training that would be underway for our development staff. That has started. We've had 2 of our first 4 sessions. We've had over 100 development and advancement professionals online doing training with the outside folks from Generous Change. Really pleased with the content, really pleased with the engagement from our team. I look forward to continued growth and expansion of our skill set in advancement. And maybe just in closing, just a quick acknowledgement that tonight, after we all get back to Pullman, because I know we have a little tighter schedule today, we will recognize the folks who are responsible for the establishment of the first pediatric residency. Daryl talked about that a little bit yesterday. So the Community Cancer Fund individuals will be on the field with Kirk and Elizabeth and Daryl and I early in the third quarter. We're just grateful for their belief in what we're doing on the health sciences campus and the importance of new residency programs throughout the state of Washington. So with that, I will wrap it up and take any questions you may have. And thank you again, Lisa, Madam Chair.
Any questions? Comments? Okay. Great work. Lisa King, really appreciate your leadership and everything that you've done. I was whispering at the celebration for the Champion Center, don't you just want to stay on? This whole Lisa and Lisa thing is working pretty well. And I learned that you have been serving in this role for 3 years. And so I just really appreciate your dedication. And Lester, happy Aloha Friday. So thank you both for being a part of this.
Well, when we look forward tomorrow, let me just be very clear. Go Beavers, and tonight go Cougs.
Yes. Thanks, Mike. All right. We are headed to report out from our Faculty Senate Chair, Eric Sheldon. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for having me here, and I apologize for not being in the Vancouver campus. I know it's a beautiful campus, been there a couple of times, and I'm sorry I'm not there in person. Since we last talked, I've had an opportunity to read a number of editorials and opinion pieces about what Faculty Senate leadership ought to be doing, and uniformly it's to communicate with people and to make connections between different people on the various campuses and find solutions to issues. So consistent with that, the first thing I'd like to say is that Tracy Klein, who's the chair-elect, and myself have once again had the opportunity to visit. This fall, we visited the Everett and Vancouver campuses and talked to faculty and administration there about their concerns and successes. And we really appreciate the willingness of all the people involved to talk to us. We plan to visit the Tri-Cities and Spokane campuses this coming spring. And while we were doing that, we realized that particularly since Tracy Klein, the chair-elect, is not located on the Pullman campus, that it might also be appropriate for us to talk to people on the Pullman campus. And so we had Tracy come out to Pullman and spent a couple of days talking to people on the Pullman campus, which was a great experience. There were a very large number of people that we talked to who said, you know, we've never really talked to Faculty Senate. And I think those were some really productive conversations. So again, we really appreciate everybody taking the time to talk to us. We've also had presentations from President Schultz and Provost Chilton in the Faculty Senate formally during our meetings, as well as Dave Soleil, the Global Campus Chancellor, Senior Vice Provost Laura Hill, and incoming Senior Vice Provost Doug Call presented to us on the results of the code survey. We also had Leslie Brunelli, who's the VP for Finance Administration, come and talk to us and answer our questions. And then just yesterday, we had Saichi Oba and Andrew Brewick come and talk to us about enrollment and the successes that they've had over the last year. And again, we really appreciate them taking the time to come and talk to us and update us on progress and issues, as well as take all of our questions. We continue to monitor the pilot program for course review that Christine Horn initiated last year, and that so far has been, we've heard nothing but good things about the improvement that has made in terms of streamlining the review process for courses, which I think has been a source of frustration for faculty in the past who are proposing new courses. So far that seems to be a resounding success. We approved the formation of 3 departments on the Spokane campus in the College of Nursing. We've also approved the formation of an ad hoc committee to investigate institutional policies on faculty salary step structure this past fall. And then we've continued to weigh in on a really large variety of issues and policies throughout the Washington State University system. We had a chance to talk to the Board of Regents in September and express our opinions and concerns, and we really appreciate the invitation to do that, as well as the willingness of all of Washington State University's administration to engage with the Faculty Senate and communicate back and forth with us to resolve issues. And that's my entire presentation, so I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Thank you for your leadership. We appreciate hearing from you and continue to want to partner. So thank you again.
Likewise. Thank you again.
All right. Our associated students of WSU Vancouver, Vice President Samuel Crawford will present in person, and our President Diana Luis Contreras will be joining virtually. Welcome.
Thank you, Regents, for being here, and thank you, President Schultz, for coming down as well. Diana is unfortunately not able to make it today in person, but we'll be listening to the live stream as well. I'd also like to give a big thanks to our Chancellor Mel. He's been very helpful in providing strategic advice this year in guiding us through the campus. There's been a significant increase in student involvement with student government in this past year. Last year, we had a ton of students running for student positions within student government, which has been a big thing. This year, our team has been the most diverse it has been in years. We're able to form a passionate team of student leaders from diverse backgrounds and a multitude of majors who have worked extremely hard this semester. ASWSUV is becoming more known due to the members' active participation in various clubs and volunteering. As of fall 2023, there are 71 student clubs, and some of the notable clubs include Crafts and Creations Club, led by our President Diana. They have 177 members. We also have another group called the First Generation Students Association with 158 members. Because of the amount of external involvement, more students have become aware of ASWSUV. ASWSUV's members are consistently attending school events and volunteering within and outside our community. A majority of student government members also consistently volunteer with other student organizations. We'd also like to thank President Schultz for his generous donation of $5,000 to help student clubs. With his support, we are able to fund events like the Student Harvest Festival, which is one of our biggest events on campus. With this funding, we're able to provide food for over 300 students, which has been a big help this year. President Diana and I have also initiated COOG chat sessions twice a month to engage with students on campus issues. Additionally, a student government council meeting with other student governments was hosted at WSU Vancouver in October. After break, we'll be reinstating the Chancellor Student Advisory Board with Mel. Our first meeting will be that week with students from different departments on campus. Some of these departments include our Engaged Learning and Career Action Center, our library, our Student Activities Board, and ASWSUV members. We are very excited to have our first meeting and for the future of the Chancellor Student Advisory Board. Collaboration with students has been a key focus, resulting in successful events such as the Halloween Extravaganza, led by our Student Activities Board and our Director of Campus Community Outreach, Jacob Winstead. We've also had a Dias de los Muertos event in collaboration with a variety of different student clubs on campus. These events had more than 100 participants, which includes students and community members as well. It was exciting to see community members on our campus. We also had Vancouver Ballet, Fort Laurico perform different dances, as well as we were able to have a high school mariachi band, which included 19 students who sang and played beautiful music. Other initiatives include continuing the bathroom carts with wellness items in collaboration with our Student Wellness Center. We've also done external fundraising at Chipotle and Panda Express, which have been successful, and as well as hosting a blood drive with the American Red Cross and participation in the Latino Youth Conference this year. Recognition has been achieved with several ASWSUV members receiving scholarships at the WSUV Scholarship Recognition Dinner. ASWSUV has also worked with Fuse for student voter registration, and we had attended many events related to voter engagement on our campus. We established relationships with community organizations such as Latino Leadership Northwest, Columbia River High School Key Club, and Skyview High School Key Club, as well as other organizations such as Fourth Plane Forward and Vancouver Community Leadership Institute, led by our Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Corey Hing. Corey Hing has also been a part of the Board of Directors for Khmer Inger Dance Troupe of Vancouver, Washington, and we're excited to continue creating relationship on campus with the Vancouver community. To summarize this all, ASWSUV has built a strong relationship with the community organizations and emphasizing its commitment to diversity. And in this, we've created relationships between the university and the broader community on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. Will you share a little bit about where you are in your journey here at WSUV? So maybe your major and what year you are?
Yeah, so I'm a current third-year student here at Washington State University, Vancouver. I'm first generation as well, and I am a social science major here on campus as well.
Awesome, great. Any comments, questions from the board?
I have one. I appreciate the leadership and the student engagement on campus, and it's just been fun to be here and hear about the new student clubs. And you know, when I have the foundation board of directors provides some dollars that I get to use each year for different things, and so when they talked about, boy, we used up all our money for student clubs right away, it was nice to have some philanthropic dollars. I could just say, hey, let's use this. This seems like a really good time. And if the students want to do it and they're lacking dollars, that's the kind of thing that we should be able to step in and do it. So thanks for your leadership. It says more about how campus is doing, that everybody wants to form these new organizations and are enthusiastic about that. So anyway, thanks. And next time, I can't promise $5,000 every time we visit, but
thank you.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I thought you contributed $5,000. So I was going to say, I'll match Kirk's $5,000, which of course I will, but I didn't realize it was actually Mike that forwarded you $5,000. Anyway, yeah, so I will match that, but I really appreciate all of the work that you're doing and really how you're leading and the excitement from the campus. It is definitely electric and alive when you're here. So
That's really awesome to hear. Thank you, Lisa.
Be sure it's cash.
Yeah.
you gonna take check or IOU? All right. Yeah.
Are any of the clubs or other community involvement directed at getting new students, high school students, to apply to WSUV?
Yeah, we've done a lot of work within the local high school communities, having our clubs reach out to different groups like the key clubs within the different universities and allowing them to volunteer in different events on our campus, which has been really instrumental in bridging the gap between high school students in the area and WSU Vancouver.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that question.
Well, just great work. I've gotten to work with Sam and his amazing team, and then shout out to Tamara as well, their advisor. but really you guys have done a really good job with the student engagement. I mean, I remember last year when they were talking about the levels of student engagement, I was taking notes. I was like, what have you guys been doing? How can I, how can I take that back to Tri-Cities? But just amazing work. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Isaac.
All right. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you all.
All right, we have our Graduate Professional Student Association President, AJ Barman.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? It's a pleasure to be here, and I apologize that I am not I am not able to be in person. So sorry for that, but it's a pleasure and honor to be here. And today I am here to give updates from our Graduate and Professional Student Association. And as we see our presentation slide from the first presentation, from the first photo, GPSA donated 150 pounds of food, non-perishable food to the Cougar Food Pantry to address the food insecurity issue on our campus. So it was a collective and collaborative effort from all our GPSA members. And to the second photo, we sent our Vice President of Legislative Affairs to Washington, D.C. to meet with the offices of Kathy McMorris-Roger, U.S. Representative Pramila Jaipal, U.S. Senator Patty Murray, and the Office of House Committee on Higher Education. And we talked about like greater funding on in higher education. We talked about support to childcare effort. They were really pleased to hear that GPSA, like a student organization in a university, is putting effort towards childcare. And we are seeking like potential federal funding towards GPSA through this meeting. And going towards our third meeting, this year, the student engagement in in-person event is huge. So we are looking at this photo, which is our Lauren McCluskey campus safety run, and GPSA owned the third place in the marathon as a team. Going to our next in-person programming event. So it was our it's the GPSA effort to support the local business and as well as our graduate student. So during restaurant week, we host the event in one of the local restaurant. We give $10 discount to the graduate student so that the local business can get support financially, and also our graduate student can have like a good time in the programming events. In our fifth photo, our GPSA team went there last month to attend SGC meeting, which is a collective effort from all the WSU campuses, student leaders. So in the photo, all the campuses like Vancouver campus, Spokane campus, and every other campus, their president, vice president, and their director of legislative affairs, we all met there and we finalized and we talked about finalizing our agenda for Cook Day at the Capitol, which will be on January 22nd in Olympia. So the agenda is ongoing process, but it's a collaborative WSU effort from all the student leaders. In our sixth and seventh photograph, I include that as a proof, like how our student engagement is increased, and we feel accomplished in doing so because this gives the graduate student an opportunity to socialize, to meet with other students, which is other than from their own department. So this builds a community sense and also give them an opportunity to mingle with others and make friends. And thank you, everyone. This was the update from GPSA. If there is any question, I would be happy to answer.
You've been busy. Thank you for your leadership. Are there questions, comments?
Just one comment. As a former grad student myself many years ago, I really appreciate the fact that you pulled together the grad students for all these events, because it's too easy to be isolated between lab work and, courses, taking courses and teaching, and it can, and I think it's so important for the morale, but also for the mental health of the grad students to have that support. So I applaud you for doing that.
I agree. And also, I want to point out all the efforts are, it's a joint and collaborative effort between our groups. So I shouldn't take the credit. The credit actually goes to our programming committee chair, Jeremy. So he's really into organizing all the programming events, and like his effort and his attitude makes us always be more engaged and give our like best effort doing it. But I will forward your kind words to him.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. Let's move to our Administrative Professional Advisory Council Chair, Angie Center.
Hello and welcome from a very chilly football Friday here on the Pullman campus. APAC is pleased to report the following. The October APAC meeting focused on the changes to employee benefit services to give advance notice to AP staff for November's open enrollment. So there are some current changes to healthcare in the November open enrollment that could have the possibility of negatively affecting both care and finances for some of our staff. HRS has done a great job sending out some emails, doing webinars, and has a wonderful FAQ page. But as we all know, people don't always read their emails. And so it was really nice to be able to bring them in front of our constituency and get them the information that they needed in advance. During that meeting, we also instituted an ad hoc tuition waiver committee. They're tasked with investigating if and how Washington State tuition waiver programs extend to equivalent programs consistent with the WSU Global Campus model. We know that this has been investigated in the past, but this is still something that continually keeps coming back as a request item, not only from AP staff, but we've had civil service staff reach out to us. We've had some conversations with Faculty Senate as this being an interest as well. So we cast a pretty wide net in creating this ad hoc committee, and it does include members of faculty, it includes budget and enrollment and admissions individuals as well. We understand there's some financial hurdles probably there and some legislative ones, but they are going to investigate that and see where we're at this present moment in time. I'm a huge proponent of committees figuring out what they can and then ending. So this does have a scheduled termination date of May 15th of this year. On October 26th, APAC executive officers met with the Chancellor's Council to deepen our connection with the WSU leadership across the system. This was huge. As was mentioned earlier, there is a staff need for more transparency, communication, and visibility with upper WSU leadership and staff. And so this was great because this was not APAC begging for airtime with the Chancellor's Council. This was them coming to us and saying, hey, we'd like to have a conversation and see what's going on in your world. So that went a really long way with APs when they found out that we were having that meeting. And I just want to express our appreciation for that. And I look forward to our next meeting there as well. The November APAC meeting featured another HRS presentation on AP Enhancement Compensation Plan Review and Refresh. Always good information for them. And then it's not all work and no play for us. We are now hosting a fall photo contest. So APs across the system are encouraged to submit photos of fall in their respective locations. And the winners will be announced on December 14th. And of course, in great Cougar fashion, we are giving out cans of Cougar Gold cheese to the winners. So the photos of our beautiful campus locations will be available on our website in December. So that's all I have. If there's any questions.
Great, thank you. Questions from the board, comments? Okay, I appreciate your leadership. Thank you, Angie. All right, this is the time where we'll move to the Board of Regents committee reports, but I am actually going to go ahead and have us take a very brief 5-minute break. Thank you. All right, at this time, we will move to the Board of Regents committee reports. The first committee is the Executive and Governance Committee report. We have the 2024 Board of Regents revised meeting schedule. 2024. I'm just gonna check really quick. Yeah, 2024. We were talking about 2025, and so just a little pause just to make sure I'm reading this correctly. So I will go ahead and move that the Board of Regents approve the revised schedule for the 2024 Board of Regents meetings and delegate authority to the president of the university or his designee to select and designate appropriate meeting places, establish meeting times, establish the agenda, and prepare public items, dispatch all official notices to meet the state Open Public Meetings Act or other notice requirements, publish minutes and maintain records of meetings, and take other necessary action as required for the orderly conduct of the board meetings as proposed. You have the dates in front of you. We are making a shift in our locations as well as a shift in the date for our April meeting, which has in the past been a May meeting. So with that, I will ask for a second of this motion.
Second.
Thank you, Regent Dickinson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say yay.
Yay.
Anyone opposed? All right, so moved or passed. Sorry. Motion has passed. Thank you. All right, moving on. Academic and Student Affairs Committee report. Regent Pika.
Thank you, Chair Shower. Just one action item from yesterday's discussion and the discussion that we had back in September in Pullman, and that is to approve our Year 6 accreditation report for the NWCCU. And I just want to take a moment to call out Provost Chilton, Vice Provost Christina Peterson Wilson, and Associate Vice President for Health Sciences and Academic Programs, Craig Parks, for the work that they and their teams have done in preparing for this. This is a very important report. And Regent Powell yesterday was telling me that we have a kind of a reputation for delivering on and really presenting such a thorough, in-depth report that's always received so well in the past. And we feel poised that it will be this go around when we submit this spring. So I'm going to move right now that we to the Board of Regents to review and approve this 6-year accreditation plan for the NWCCU.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to comment that it was a thorough report and I enjoyed reading it. So thanks to the broadest team that prepared it. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And our accreditation liaison officer, Craig Parks, is on the line here if anyone has any questions. But yes, a big shout out to Craig and Christina for pulling together a large army of people who contributed. So thank you.
Craig, would you like to add anything?
No, nothing more to add at this time. I appreciate the kind words. It really does take a large number of people to assemble this, and again, we'll be back a year from now with part 2.
Terrific. Would you like me to? Great. Okay, so with no further discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
And those, any nays? Right. So I'm happy to announce that we have the approval to go forward. Chair Shower.
All right. Thank you, Regent Pika. Next up is our Strategic and Operational Excellence Committee report with Regent Shetler.
Thank you, Chair Shower. I'd also like to thank other regents, Marty Dickinson, Doug Pika, and Heather Redmond, for your support and help with this committee. The committee meets ahead of these meetings to prepare. And I just want to also call out the excellent work that the professionals that lead this executive operational strategic committee. It's remarkable to work with people that are so well prepared in their space. And I just want to thank them all. We had one discussion item and 4 information items. The first discussion item was a fulsome report that was given to us by our WSU Vancouver, by our Executive Vice President for Finance and Administration, our CFO, Leslie Bernelli, as well as Christine Hoyt and Sachi Oba. They are doing excellent work in this space. We talked about the undergraduate tuition affordability, and we talked a lot about FASA and what is going on in that space. So thank you all very much for your excellent report. Our first information item was WSU's Vancouver strategic plan that was given to us by Mel Netzhammer and also by Ms. Bennett. And again, you heard a lot of what's going on here on the campus by when Mel gave his report earlier in the day. Again, it was a very fulsome report. I think that this is my first time on this campus. It's a gorgeous campus. There's a lot that's going on, especially in diversity, equity, inclusion. I love to see all the work that's being done in this space. Our second information item was our governance relations that was given to us by Chris Mulick. There's a lot going on in this space as well, especially with all the changes in the legislature. And thank you very much for your work in that area. Next, we heard from our Chief Compliance and Risk Officer, Charles Commerzel. She had gone through and taken a look at all of the top risks and reprioritized those, if you will. And it's remarkable what a university has to deal with in terms of compliance and risk management. And Charles does an excellent job in this space as well. That's something that I tend to spend a lot of time with in my day job at Amazon. And so I understand and know just how much work goes on in this area. And I'd like to thank Charles and her team for what she does for us to keep us on the right side of good and what excellence looks like. We also had an opportunity to have Mariah Maki give us an update on the Regents Distinguished Alumni Awards that will be coming up and about the nomination process. And I'm really looking forward to seeing who the committee selects this year. It's quite an esteemed award, and I'd like to thank Mariah and her team for all the hard work in this space as well. So thank you all very much, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Regent Shetler. We're going to head over to Finance and Administration and that committee report with Regent Ramos.
Thank you, Chair Schauer. So we had a very thorough, full agenda yesterday. And also to build on the idea about our preparation, there are several teams that help us prepare in advance of even our meeting yesterday. So I just want to thank the entire community for all the information, the transparency, the inclusion, and the candor that comes through in all of those meetings. It's really important for us to stay in tune to the pulse of the entire system. So I appreciate the direct feedback from everybody. We had 3 information items. The first was with our internal chief audit executive. We went through the internal audit update and the information there, as well as the plan, and to continue that culture of openness, transparency, and seeing audit as help, right? So we need to continue to do that, and I appreciate everyone's cooperation. The second information item was the fiscal year 2023 financial statement audit update from our Executive Vice President and CFO, Leslie Bernelli, and her team. it's going to continue on. I'll just say that the findings were thorough. Our repeat issues were addressed, and we'll continue to have continuous improvement throughout our system. Our third information item was athletics budget update. Again, a lot of team work there. It's a tough time to create a budget when you're not really sure what's going on in front of you. But in terms of our performance to date, staying really close to the data, deep into the teams, and staying on track with the plan. We had 2 future action items that we're going to look forward to address in January. The first one is the proposed academic year 2024 and 25 tuition rates. We had a very thorough contextual report to help us make that decision. And so I appreciate all the work to look at our competitiveness position, the offerings that we have, all the efforts to improve enrollment. These are all critical items to consider as we address tuition rates in the coming year. Our second future action item was our WSU Foundation investment policy amendments, and there are updates to the documentation, and we appreciate all the work that's happened there with our CEO, Mike Connell, as well. So with that, I'm going to move to the more exciting actions that we will take today. We have 6 actions that we're going to take consideration into, and I appreciate all the teams preparing for this. The first one is the WSU Pullman Athletics Champion Center project budget. And we received the overall report. It was a future action item in September. We've had time to consider it. And so with all of that, I move that the WSU Board of Regents approve the WSU Pullman Champion Center project with a total budget not to exceed $9.4 million, that we authorize the project to proceed to design and construction using the design build process pursuant to RCW 39.10, and further delegate authority to the president or designee to enter into any and all contracts necessary to complete the project within the budgeted amount.
Second.
Any further discussion? What did he say?
You had 3 seconds.
Oh, got it.
So we are
all in. Okay. Well, before I say that, let's take a vote. So all those in favor, say yay.
Aye.
Kind of mixed on those today.
I know, me too.
All those against? Wonderful. So we will approve the WSU Pullman Athletics Championship Center budget. Now, along with that, we are going to consider this next action item, which is to approve the WSU Pullman Athletics Champion Center design. And so the team presented their plan, and with that, we are going to move that the WSU Board of Regents approve the schematic design for the WSU Pullman Champion Center.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? An exciting project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So that is approved, and we'll move forward with the design. The third action item today is the approval of the WSU Pullman USDA Agricultural Research Services Plant Biosciences Research Building Design. I move that the WSU Board of Regents approve the schematic design for the WSU Pullman USDA Agricultural Research Services Plant Biosciences Research Building. And
Second.
okay. That was
lot of
They
excitement
really
in your
got that
committee.
efficiency. Great.
Yeah.
Really engaged here. Just want to remind y'all, that's a huge project, 120 million. And so we're really grateful for that. But all those in favor, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, cool. Thank you. That is approved. And the next action item is approval of Washington State University Voluntary Investment Program. I move that the Board of Regents approve and adopt the amended and restated Washington State University Voluntary Investment Program in substantially the same form as the versions attached to the agenda item, and that the Board of Regents delegate to the president or designee the authority to make changes in the VIP plan document in substantial conformity with the versions presented at this meeting, to execute the plan in the university's name and to take such other actions as deemed necessary or appropriate to implement the plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Okay, so that is approved. Thank you. The fifth action item for us is the lease space for WSU's Institute for Northwest Energy Futures. I move that the Board of Regents authorize and delegate authority to the president or his designee to execute or commence a lease to purchase agreement to acquire essential office and laboratory space near the WSU Tri-Cities campus with a lease period of 4 years from execution or commencement of the agreement, with a total lease to purchase payments not to exceed 5.4 million, plus the applicable inspection closing costs and excluding annual taxes, utilities, and operating maintenance costs. Thank you, Isaac. Isaac seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Okay, and we also moved future action item to an action with regards to the delegation of authority to approve medical residency program agreements. And so this is the final action item for today. This was presented as a future action item, but just a reminder, we're going to vote on it right now. And there were no objections to moving it. I just want to clear that too. I move that the Board of Regents delegate authority to the president or designee to approve the medical residency agreements. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, thank you for all of the thorough work to get to the approvals. I appreciate everyone's engagement and feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Ramos. That was also a very efficient meeting that you ran yesterday. So efficient, we got done quite a bit early. And quality, yes, thank you. All right, we're moving into other business. So yesterday, November 16th, 2023, the Regents met in executive session with legal counsel to discuss pending or potential litigation involving the university and to review the performance of a public employee. Related to that discussion, we have the following action item. I move to adopt resolution 23116-699, approving the request for defense of university employees. Is there a second? All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right, we are at the time of the meeting where we like to welcome any public comment. So we'll now allow the next 10 minutes of the meeting for the public to provide comments to the board. Please keep in mind there is a 2-minute limit per speaker. We have 2 requests to speak to the board today. And we'll go ahead and start with Isabel Krillman, who will address WSU's divestment from fossil fuels. And Isabel, I believe that you are calling in virtually, so welcome. And go ahead and feel free to address the board.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Isabel Krillman, and I'm a third-year student in psychology at WSU Pullman. I'm a member of the student group Environmental Sustainability Alliance and its subcommittee Fossil Free WSU. Please support divestment from WSU portfolio from the world's largest 200 fossil fuel companies. WSU continued investment in this area is inconsistent with its pledge as a signatory of the American College and University President's climate commitment to be a leader in climate and sustainability action for the sake of their student and society. We cannot be a leader in such action if we ignore fossil fuel divestment as a major strategy for addressing climate change. And if we keep letting other institutions commit to divestment ahead of us, 250 U.S. educational institutions have already made a divestment commitment, and the University of Washington, Oregon State, and Seattle University in our area has committed to full divestment. That some fossil fuel companies have also invested in renewables should not be an obstacle. Not when virtually all oil and gas companies are planning expansion according to analysis released at COP27 1 year ago. By committing to divest from fossil fuels, WSU will lead in climate action and sustainability for the sake of their students. A majority of us want the university to divest. We have collected 1,000+ signatures on our WSU student petition for divestment. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. Appreciate you addressing the board. Okay, next up is Beatrice Cafe, who will address academic student employee negotiations. Go ahead and come on up to you get to join us right up front here. Yep, just go ahead and sit at the table. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so for the past 10 months, my colleagues and I, as part of WSU CASE, have been at the bargaining table negotiating our first collective bargaining agreement. We formed our union to have a say in our working conditions because the status quo was not livable. Unfortunately, while we have made some progress, we are not getting close to an agreement on some incredibly important topics to us, such as wages, healthcare, and comprehensive anti-discrimination provisions. We have had to file an unfair labor practice over WSU administrative bargaining team's decision to make unilateral changes to our healthcare plan, and we are concerned with an overall lack of respect that's been shown to our work. They have repeatedly framed our stipends that we receive as academic student employees as favors to support students and degraded the labor performed by our unit members, dismissing some of us as bottle washers who aren't deserving of a living wage. We view this characterization as disrespectful because we think there is no such thing as unskilled labor and that the dignity of work ought to be preserved for every academic student employee. Even more than that, we are the people who carry out the fundamental mission of WSU, quality teaching and research. We are passionate about our jobs, but we need adequate pay to live here and protection from harassment and discrimination while we do our work. We can only do this if we win a fair first contract. We're serious about our demands and we don't want to strike, but we have taken a strike authorization vote and we are willing to make the sacrifice if that is the only way that we can reach a first contract. To help us achieve a fair contract and avoid a strike, we need your help to communicate to the WSU administrative bargaining team that their conduct during bargaining has not been acceptable. We had to take a 1-month break due to the administration's unavailability, and we have asked to meet all day, every day, starting after Thanksgiving break. We are hopeful that administration's team will agree to the round-the-clock meetings to work through our challenges and to get to an agreement. We appreciate your encouragement of this as well as we complete negotiations and bring this contract to a close. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you addressing the board, and I'm hopeful that both sides will continue to discuss and move towards a positive solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 10 a.m. and I think we've reached the end of the board meeting. I want to demonstrate my appreciation for everyone that has prepared information, to my fellow board members who continue to give so much before, during, and after the meetings. I'm going to just check to see if President Schultz has anything else you'd like to say. Okay. Hearing nothing else, I do want to do a shout out to, we have a team that supports the Regents to ensure that our packages of information, which I will just say from my first year, so I am entering into my 6th year of service. The packet was over 600 pages and we're getting closer to 400. And so I appreciate what's being done to ensure that we have the most important information. And I appreciate the board reviewing all of the details of the information that's presented to you. There's so much work that goes into each of these board packets to prepare us for the actions that we take today. I want to shout out to Tracy, Joel, Kyle, and Chris for all of your support in ensuring that we are ready in this space. And so with that, I will wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and go Cougs. All right. Meeting adjourned.
All right.